What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for joining the first episode of Libertas Radio. So the purpose of this show is to bring to you all information from successful agents on kind of their path, their story, what caused them to be successful, and just to share all that abundance of knowledge and wisdom and success with all of you. So today our guest is Danica Dunn, who is also the Libertas branch manager for our Surprise office. And Danica's story is pretty cool, and she's had a massive amount of success in a very short amount of time. So we're so thrilled to have her on the show today. Thanks for joining.
Of course.
Yeah. So can you just share with everybody, like, what got you into real estate?
Really, I think in the boom, it was interesting to me to see how fast things were moving, and I happened to be looking for my own house at the same time, which was good and bad. So I went through the lotteries and standing in line at new builds and just a really fast-paced environment. So I just, as a customer or consumer, I found it interesting and wanted to learn more about it. I had 2 jobs at the time, so it took a while, and by a while I mean 10 years or so to actually get my foot in the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, you know, along the way in getting your license and getting up to the point that you're at now, like, are there any particular struggles that stand out that you had to overcome to become successful?
Specifically, letting go of those jobs. So one of them was full-time for about 5 years, and then as I started to have kids, I cut back on my hours there, and one of them was part-time always. But my primary job was a dispatcher for the fire department, and I liked that because it was also a fast-paced environment and an opportunity to give back and help people. And then my part-time job was teaching tennis lessons. So there I got to have fun with my job, interact with people, build relationships, and meet new people all the time. So real estate gave me the avenue to do both of those things, but then there was a loss in that, like, well, can I be in a sales job and still be giving back and serving people? So it took me a while to shift.
To kind of navigate that emotionally? Okay. And so in regards to, like, building up your business and your clientele base, well, first of all, I guess, like, where does the majority of your business come from?
Mainly referrals from family and friends, or
Repeat.
Yeah.
And so you really got into the business because you like the fast-paced environment and building relationships, and hence the majority of business comes from those relationships and the repeat business.
Right.
So what kind of things do you do systematically to, or otherwise, to stay in front of those people and build and foster and feed those relationships?
So I think I make sure to focus on a long-term game. So I'm not looking to hold an open house and get a deal today. And I believe that if I'm giving and I'm serving and I'm educating, that it's going to come back to me, maybe directly or indirectly. So I just, connect with my people. And this industry has given me kind of an opportunity or maybe a push to stay connected with people that I want to anyway. So that's the biggest thing that I do, and I have some systems in place that I don't have to be super hands-on with as far as just connecting.
Okay. Would you mind sharing any of those kind of processes or any wisdom that we could share with the audience on, like, what they could take and go implement as a strategy?
So send out birthday cards. That part's really impactful for some people, and I'll get text messages like, hey, that really means a lot to me, and some people never say anything. And I say we, so I have somebody that helps me coordinate all the marketing. Send out just a monthly mailing, possibly on a holiday or, maybe a spring training, things like that. And we do monthly pop-bys, so just little gifts to, like, 25
Okay.
out of my 100 top database.
So you basically have a marketing program laid out to touch those people and just foster those relationships. And it's so great that you answered that, because one of my questions is, like, what kind of support or delegation do you have in place? Because like I talk to some agents and they're doing a lot of business, but they're doing everything. Like they do the marketing, they do the pop buys, they do the advertising, they take the listings, they show that, like they do everything. And I'm just wondering, like, and I know because I kind of did that for a while, the money's great and it's all upside, but you really give away your freedom to this business. And so what with that person, or what delegation do you have, that structure, and like how does that support you in creating bigger, better results in all areas of your life? Because I think you would agree, as along with everybody in the audience, like it's not just about making a bunch of money. Because if you're working 80 hours a week, like how's your marriage? How's your health? How's your kids? Like what's going on? Are you sacrificing all of that just for the sake of earning money? And if so, why? So like, what have you put in place to get your time back, and what do you get to do with that extra time by having that person or those systems in place?
So I've always liked to work. You know, I had 2 jobs before this industry, and especially before kids, and 70, 80 hours a week was not an issue for me. Like, I liked it. Well, I learned much later that I used that as an avenue to avoid things that were uncomfortable for me. So I could just stay in my work lane, or, you know, people like, hey, can you do this, or come here? Nope, sorry, gotta work. And holidays, like eat and run, you know.
I think a lot of people can resonate with that.
Yeah. And sometimes I miss it, but you know, generally. So I just actually replaced those things with real estate initially. And I don't know if I've ever even told you this, but like in my first year, I remember standing out in front of my garage, just like on the phone, super frustrated. I hung up and I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Like, I made a bunch of money quickly, and like, I'm so stressed. I'm like burned out, like right away. And so then it was like, okay, like I figured out that I'm capable of doing this. Like, the business it works for me, but what's really important. And so then I was able to structure goals to really foster balance with family, friends, myself, you know, taking care of myself. And that's still a learning process, but one of the biggest things is delegating things that I'm not good at and that I don't like. So we had a transaction coordinator when I first started, and she said to me one time, like, well, are you gonna like get caught up on your paperwork before you bring in new contracts? And I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah,
Sure.
I'll work, yeah, I'll try, you know. And then I was like, no, that's crap, like, I don't want to, like, she can get the signatures.
Isn't that your job? Yeah.
So now I have a relationship with transaction coordinator who is more like an assistant, and so she handles almost all of my paperwork, and she gets it done. She gets it done right, you know, not getting flagged for inaccuracies, and she's good at it.
So you first started in the business, and you ended up getting a lot of business quickly. And for what you said, like that showed you that you were capable and you could do this, right? But then you quickly got to a state of overwhelm, just so much to do. But then brought somebody on to delegate the menial tasky things that are important and they got to get done, right?
Yeah.
But they don't generate revenue,
Right.
right? Like chasing documents and signatures and uploading documents into the transaction system, that stuff doesn't make money, but it still has to get done. So you decided to like double down on your strengths and delegate your weaknesses.
Right.
But how, being new in the business, did you get so much business to be overwhelmed so fast? Like, I think the audience would really love to hear that, because there's a lot of agents out there, no matter what the market's doing, that struggle to find business. So what thing or things do you attribute that success to for you to be able to attract that business?
So I was willing to do whatever, you know, like agents will start and ask me like, well, what should I do? Just tell me what to do. And so I did anything, everything, because I didn't know what was going to be a good fit for me. So I would do open houses. I would post stuff on social media. I would, you know, some flyers. Like I did everything that I heard activity-wise. But You're gonna have to edit that. What was the actual question?
Yeah, like what things did you do to
Build a business so
to
fast.
generate so many people, so many
Yeah.
clients so fast that new in the business?
Yeah. So I would do whatever, any activity, open houses, social media, flyers, like whatever I could think of. I actually paid for rental leads initially. I just wanted business and wanted practice, but I worked hard for the leads and made very little money.
Mm-hmm.
But I got experience, and it was, again, more of a long-term game. But I had an agent who was a friend of mine that was like, this isn't working for you. Like, go join a team, and actually join Justin's team. And she, with very little information about me, she was like very certain of that. And I think she knew, like, I want to be like seriously in this business. Like, I don't want to dip my toe in or work part-time. If I'm gonna do it, like, I want to go all the way. So when I came to the Thorstad team, it was in November when you were all planning for the next year, business planning. And so it was a tailor-made business plan. It was like, here, go do it. I've been an athlete like all my life, and I've had coaches, and they tell you what to do. If you want to be successful, you just go do those things.
So get a coach and do what the coach says,
Essentially.
and you'll be successful? Well, yeah, what a mystery, huh?
I guess it depends on the coach.
Yeah.
But you definitely knew more than I did, so.
So when you first started out, you were just kind of shotgunning, doing a bunch of things, scattered, a little chaotic,
Sure.
right? Just like putting things out to see what worked. And then with coaching, it was like, let's get focused on a couple things.
Right.
So to make that shift, like what were those couple things that you were doing consistently then that were different than what you were doing before, or why do you think that worked? Like, what, in your opinion, like what was the magic sauce that you could kind of share with everybody that caused you to be successful?
The key thing was doing the things that were uncomfortable or scary.
Say more about that. Like what kind of things?
Like calling my database.
Okay.
Because I felt like it was asking people for something, and so I didn't want them to think that our relationship was based on me wanting something from them, but I was also afraid of rejection if they said that they wouldn't use me or refer me.
So calling your database, the people that know and love you the most, like actually reaching out and say, hey, I'm in real estate, if you know anybody, would you recommend me? Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Okay. What else was uncomfortable that you had to kind of get over yourself and get into action with?
You tell me.
Where do I start? No.
That's huge though. I would not have the business I have now if I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Like it's.
So basically, you went from a shotgun approach of just like doing a bunch of stuff to then only a couple things, but frequently and consistently. But those couple things were difficult emotionally to go get into action with.
Right.
Okay. So what did you have to shift in your mindset or your perspective to get over that and just get it done?
I don't know that I did. I think I just did it anyway. Like, I don't think that I was like, okay, I'm not afraid now. It's just like.
So you felt the fear and you're like, well, if I want success and this is what my coach is telling me to do, let me just get it done.
Yeah.
So I can still act and be scared and fearful.
Yeah. And then, oh, look, I didn't die.
And so you have a new experience, and the end result of an experience is a new feeling. And so just through practice, you eventually built that muscle and that confidence, and it was easier and easier and easier to just get it done.
Yeah. And the experience was a foundation to build my business and to help change the way I was thinking about things. So if I didn't get a desired outcome, I still had an experience to base my next action.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like that video that I made, like, ready is a lie, right? Like, people out there like, okay, so I know I got to do these couple things in my business, but I don't want to because it's scary, because they might reject me, and I'm going to wait until I feel confident.
Yeah.
And it never happens. So, like, just getting into action is the thing that gets you over the fear.
Yeah. So I listed a property for $2.1 million yesterday.
And congratulations.
Thank you. But I was scared. I was like, oh, what if I mess something up with it? You know, what if the pictures are crap? What, all this inner dialogue. And it was like, okay, I know that something's happening. I'm like delaying, I'm procrastinating. So
deflecting.
Yeah. So I spoke about it to someone and they're like, you're messing it up by not getting it done. I was like, oh, shit, you're right. So that's one of the biggest things too. When I'm struggling with something, I tell somebody.
So, like anybody or specific people?
People that, I mean, you or people in the branch or other branch managers, family, some family, that, you know, that are kind of safe, that I can trust, that like give me honest feedback.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I love that because, you know, like the Age and Evolution show, like who you surround yourself with really does matter, right? Because whoever we're in close proximity with, we're sharing and exchanging that energy. We're imprinting each other, right? And so, you know, if you're surrounding yourself with people that don't have a vision, that don't set goals, that don't realize that they're a powerful creator, that are more victim than responsible, like you start to become that. And so no matter how much success you have, no matter how courageous you are, like there's always going to be that upper limit, right? You're always going to hit a ceiling. And so the key is, who do I surround myself with that when I hit that ceiling, they see me bigger and better than I see myself, so I can bust through that, so that I never stop myself with that upper limit problem.
Call you out on your crap. Like, that's what I want. I find that as a gift if someone calls me out on my stuff. But I also know that if I just want to stay in it, then I have certain people I can talk to, and they'll commiserate, and they'll be, oh yeah, don't do that, don't, you know.
Oh yeah, so you
watch out for that.
You get your pity party tribe, and then you got your like conscious, enlightened people that give you honest feedback and push you to become your biggest and greatest self.
Right.
Cool. Okay. So, I mean, any kind of last words of wisdom or things that you would really want people to know that maybe are struggling and they're not having that level of success, like, and just those little gold nuggets, those subtle mental shifts you've made along the way that have caused you to powerfully manifest like your goals and your results? Because like, for those of you who don't know, like Danica's come a very long way in a short amount of time and accomplished some major things. Buying the investment properties, the dream house, the car, like, you know, going on the vacations, like you've built the life you desire to live. And so everybody wants to know, like, what are some of those things you've done?
I mean, I really never thought it would happen that I'd be in the Caribbean. It's way over there, and it just was beyond my limit. You know, I've been to Hawaii, and that, to me, like, that's awesome. I can go to a tropical place, and it's like, wow, sitting here looking around, and it's beautiful, it's amazing, and it wasn't that difficult to make happen.
So like your ego, your mind there speaks up and has this story of the things you consciously say you want, like that little voice will tell you why you can't have those things.
Yeah.
And then to like not listen to it.
So that's so key as far as like discovering limitations and saying, no, that's not true about me or what's possible. So I had a lot of money programs. You know, people with money are different than me. And if I had money, it doesn't fit, and then am I who I always have been? Like there was a lot of money stuff. And so, you know, driving a fancy car was like, it was a big deal to me to like prove to myself, like, you can still be you can be true and humble and kind and have nice things, you know?
So you had this self-image of like, I'm not that, I won't be that successful, I won't have that kind of money. But then along the way, it's like questioning that inner voice.
Yeah.
Like, where's this coming from? Why is this here? And does that serve me? What new story would serve me in creating and putting myself out there? And so it's just adjusting that self-image along the way.
Yeah.
So what kind of mechanism do you use to remind yourself to pay attention to, like, how am I thinking, how am I feeling, and does that support me? Is that the state of being that I desire to hold moving forward?
Yeah.
What's your process to kind of manage that?
I've used meditation a lot, and even just being in the world. Like, I saw a white Tesla drive by, and one day I was like, I can see me in it. Just visualizing a different future than I thought was possible. And then becoming an observer of my thoughts. You know, when I'm like, oh, that house is beautiful, but it's too big, it's in the fancy area, it doesn't fit me. And it's like, no, that's crap. Like, why can some people have these things and not me? Yeah. And so I guess that's what I would suggest to anyone, is to question your beliefs about yourself and what's possible for yourself, and figure out what you really want. If you could have anything, what would you really, really want?
So what I'm hearing you say is basically, through meditation, visualization, like, create that life that you really desire to live. Like, what are those things you want to have? How much money do you want to earn? Where are those trips? What's that car? Like, create it in your imagination first, and then through a practice, being mindful of what are my thoughts and feelings, and are they in alignment with that vision or not? So you almost have to start adjusting that story to match what you desire.
Yeah.
Has that been easy?
No, and things come up daily. Like, tell myself, no, that's not true about you or this situation. And I realized that I would build stories up around interactions, and I would replay past events and assign meaning that may have not been there. Likely wasn't.
So that kind of inner voice, those limiting beliefs, don't necessarily go away, but has it gotten a little easier or less frequent that you got to battle this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Less brain space, which gives me more brain space to create, more time to imagine.
Yeah, like I say, like, we all have this mental bandwidth, and it's like how much of that is taken up with junk or things that don't really serve you and help you produce desired results. Right. So you've taken that chunk of bandwidth that was focusing on why I'm not enough, why I'm not deserving, why I can't have this, and like freed that up to direct it and guide it to where you want it to focus on, right? Because energy flows where attention goes. So if you clear up your entire mental bandwidth, you've taken that power back, and now you can direct that energy towards what you desire. It'll begin to grow, expand, and multiply.
And so it's not just for me about stuff, it's proving myself wrong almost in those limiting beliefs, and then being able to create the life that I desire, as far as creating amazing memories with people that I care about. Yeah. And that can be vacations with friends, it can be time to just be with my kids, hanging out at the pool.
Whatever. Yeah, absolutely. So basically creating that liberty in your life. So I've created the money, I've created the time, I've created the business that runs so that I can now make more and more decisions about what I want to do, when I want to do it, without having to base those decisions on your resources of time and money.
Yeah, exchanging my time for money.
Awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Anything else you want to impart on the audience, gems of wisdom?
I think final thing is people will look at someone and want the things they have or the success that they have, and want to know what to do. And there's really no secret, you know? Like agents I work with, like, I'm not hiding like, I'll tell you everything, you know? And so it's just about believing that you're capable and knowing where you're going and what you want.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because it's like the mindset shift class that I do, right? Like, I give everybody the exact plan that we use at Libertas that's brought you so much success and so many other agents. And it's so simple, so easy, that people go, nah, that can't work. That's too simple. There's got to be some hidden secret that nobody's sharing with me that's causing them to be successful. Exactly. And they're hiding and hoarding this information. It's like, that's a lie. Yeah. It really is that easy. But like, what's been so awesome about your growth and watching your path is like, you've focused on the beingness, your thoughts and feelings, the behavior, and made shifts there. So like we often say, like, it's not what you do that caused you to be successful. It's who's showing up to the party and executing on that action that is so important. Right. Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the first episode of Libertas Radio, and thank you all so much for watching. We'll be making adjustments along the way. This is episode 1, and we're gonna figure it out. So, and we'll be bringing more and more successful agents to you and having them unpack their stories, things that they're doing to cause them to be successful with mindset and skill set to bring you all a tremendous amount of value. So thanks so much for watching.